Recording.
We are Group 4, and for our United Nations Sustainable Development Goal, we picked goal number 13, which is climate action. I'm Alexia Heaton.
I'm Miguel Salgado.
And I'm Jacob Delatre.
For our project, we focus on the goal of climate change and specifically how to combat climate change. And for the focus of our MATLAB, we wanted to educate the user about efforts that are taking place to fight against climate change, and we also discussed suggestions and ideas of how to implement fighting against climate change into society and communities. By presenting this information through MATLAB, it is more accessible and engaging, and it helps the user have a better understanding of the importance of climate action and how they can have an impact in their community and different organizations and take a step into helping with this cause and creating a sustainable future.
Now, you're wondering, what did we focus on? Our targets were 13.2, improve education and awareness, and 13.3, implementing national policies. For 13.2, we go in depth on the current education system of climate change and our idea of creating a required high school class focused on that topic. We decided on this due to the fact that high school students are very impressionable and they have a more leading factor to actually listen to us and believe in climate change and change their ways in order to support the reversal of CO2 emissions that we're putting into our world. 13.3 implements national policy, is a national policy over a 5-year period of installing solar panels on housing to create a cleaner and more sustainable energy throughout America. Now, I bet you're wondering about the algorithm. How are we going to show you? Well, through MATLAB, our algorithm is an interactive model that allows the user to educate themselves about efforts to confront climate change. The program allows the user to explore both targets by allowing options for the user by choosing topics and interactive with the data through a quiz. The program shows and explains our goals and the data that supports our claims, and Miguel will show you how that works.
Okay, so as Jacob just explained, our code is basically has been built so that the user, the high school students, can be presented information about climate change and how they can combat it. Since they are the future of the world, it is dependent on them to learn more about the CO2 emissions and renewable energy. So for starting off, the user will get this page of all this code right here, and the user will then just hit the select button, run. So once you hit select run, you will be given the option of either selecting choice 1 or 2. Choice 1 or 2 was previously talked about from our goals. So as you can see right here, we have target branch 1, which is your selection of 1, which would be renewable energy. So as the user, I will click 1, enter. Once you do so, you will be given a lot of information talking about the total cost per year over a 5-year period for all the homes to install solar panels, which is right here given on the data. Followed by that, you will be given a graph, which is showing a linear slope, which is a cumulative cost versus the amount of years. And in this case, we decided to go for 5 years. After you have reviewed all the information below, it will then be given to you a 5-question quiz. This quiz is basically followed as a yes or no, almost as a true or false. And as we previously saw, question 1 will say yes. Question 2 is solar measured in gigawatts, question mark. So we would just say yes. Are renewable carbons neutral? Yes. Is voting change most impacted from educating on climate change? As we see from the bar graph, we can see that the voting change is heavily impacted from the data that we sourced out. It is heavily impacted. So in this case, we would say yes. And is policy support least impacted by climate education? Following back to the graph, we can see so we would say yes. At the end of the whole quiz, you will be given a check mark, basically letting you know if you got 5 out of 5 correct, or if you got less, and so on. So that is the whole program right there. Going back to our infographic, Alexia.
For the results, our code, as we worked on it and refined to make it a successful program, the results of the program are to inform the user of this information and specifically how we want to implement the education and what information we want to present in the classroom. And we inform the user about the impacts of this being implemented in the education systems. And it also informs the user of details of our proposal for a national policy, which would have been option 2 on the MATLAB course. But the future steps are to encourage the user to voice their concerns and to encourage critical thinking and to consider new ways and different engagement opportunities contribute to the fight against climate change. We hope that this MATLAB program is educational and inspiring to the user so that they can take this information and apply it to their own lives and contribute to their communities and organizations.